Hey guys, Becca Scoops here. You guys are having a good day. Just wanted to make a short little video to go over a few things that I thought are important. A couple little odds and ends tidbits that I think you guys might find interesting. And then to also announce my big live that's going to happen tomorrow. And we're going to have some guests on. If you guys haven't seen the interview, I was on a podcast and that was in my last video. You can find the link to that interview there. And we're going to be going over some stuff going forward, how this impacts the anti gypsy community going forward. Where do we go from here? What are the next steps? And then just to fill you in behind the scenes, of course, I'll have some other stuff for you guys, prison email stuff. It'll be a fun live, but make sure if you can't be live for that broadcast to come back later and catch it on the replay. All right. I'd really appreciate it. All right. So let's start out today. I was intrigued about Gypsy's kitten fetish. So we're talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the woman who back in 2015 murdered her mother. She had a boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, that she manipulated to do it, as most of you know. And I'm also going to talk about another case you might have heard that's very similar or potentially similar is this Sarah Grace Patrick case. I'm also going to get into some stuff with that, how it can be very similar. And when we talk about the motive, everybody always, has speculated what is Gypsy's motive. It's just as simple as that she didn't want to be under her mother's control. She wrote it again and again in emails. And the control part of it was that she wanted to be free to pursue these sexual relationships. And that's where this other case comes in that I think you'll find interesting of some things that have been said about this other girl. Okay. So let's get to the kitten fetish first, though, right? All right. So Gypsy has some emails here where this is where this kitten fetish is mentioned. And so this is from January 2022. Obviously, at this point, she is in a relationship with Ryan Anderson. So I don't know if he knows this or not, but she's not talking to Ryan. This is a guy that's from Massachusetts, I believe, as much as I can tell. I have not identified his name or anything like that, but this is definitely not Ryan Anderson who she's talking to. Okay. She talks about it was really nice to go to the beach. I did actually go over this text in a different video, but I wanted to look into this place that she mentions. Okay. So she wants to find out if he's single. And then she said, I absolutely love kittens so much that I also have a fetish called kitten play. All right. There is a house called and I was pronouncing it Chateau because she spells it Chato and it's chateau. It's the French word for house, chateau. I didn't know. I thought she knew what this place was. She says there's a house called it's pronounced chateau, is kind of like the Playboy Mansion, but it's for people with this fetish. All right. So she shares that with this guy who she's never met because that's what you do, right? I guess. He responds, at least put this whole name on your ankle. Oh, he's talking about the K. She has a K on her ankle. She tells him about the K, but that she had broken up with Ken. And that's what he's talking about. You should also get a belly button piercing. Yes, I'm single, he says, been single since 2019. And wow, I've never heard of kitten play. Well, either had I. I don't know. Maybe you guys have or haven't. I know I'm old, so I always say I'm old and I don't know about this stuff. The gentleman continues, I'm guessing it doesn't involve playing with actual kittens. Well, I'm really hoping it doesn't, but you never know with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Who needs filters anyway? It's hilarious. I guess because she was saying, "Oh, I don't have filters." You know how she always says that I'm quirky. I'm so quirky. I don't have filters. I say what's on my mind. It's hilarious, he writes. I just looked up the chateau. He actually spells it the correct way. Very interesting and LOL. All right. So that's piqued my interest. I'm like, is there really a place called the chateau where do people like is there like a whole house or a whole like place where they do this kitten fetish stuff? Well, there is. There is, and we're going to get to that right now. And they have an Instagram account. Let me take this down. So they have an Instagram account. This is one of the pictures on the Instagram. You see the leashes here. But let me go ahead. I'm share screening this so I can bring it up, and up, and up. And there you go, the chateau. The chateau has about 17,000 followers. You see some of the images there, pretty R-rated, I would say. Yeah. And anyways, this blonde woman here, this one I'm darkened out. This blonde woman is the owner. And we're going to get to a guy that did a deep dive on this place, and I just clipped a little bit of his video so because I thought it was pretty interesting to learn, because actually Gypsy, she looked into this. She was into this. She wanted to visit this place. So I thought, hey, is there anything out there about this place besides this Instagram account and these women all dressed up like cats? Like, what's happening? So I did find a video, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Here we go.
The safe place the safe space that they say. Most of the social media followings on this place, they're not very big. It's just kind of like its own little niche out there in the middle of Colorado. And you have this lady who's promoting this place, and she's searching all over the internet for girls to bring them back to this place. That in itself seems very odd. Isabella is her name. Karnstein's probably said that wrong. She's actually from the UK. I think most of her following stems from Facebook, which even there is kind of small with just over 10,000 people. They got 19.1 thousand followers on Instagram.
They've lost some followers.
She does have just over 33,000 followers on TikTok, where she does, let's see. She was covered in the Huff Post in 7/14/2016, where they said cat girls and kitten play are about to explode on the mainstream in a new way under the leadership of the Chateau. Denver Vampire Weekend, the Vampire Ball. Now I'm starting to remember.
Okay, so then he mentions vampires, and I'm like, what the hell? What is going on with this whole thing, right? I mean, why is there always vampires involved? And, remember, Gypsy claims that it was Nick who brought in all this vampire stuff. And we know that's not true. She was into it. Her whole obsession with Twilight. He did not bring in the vampire stuff. So this guy mentions that this vampire stuff has to do with this kitten player. Okay, I don't know. Let's back it up a minute.
Denver Vampire Weekend, the Vampire Ball. Now I'm starting to remember what people were telling me about back when I was covering Davi Vandy. Apparently, she's got something to do with this vampire ball, but this ties into Davi Vandy, which was why I even ran into it in the first place. She apparently is friends with this person, and there's going to be a little bit of a story about him from the person that we're going to be talking about. Not just to Davi Vandy, but other people who exhibited terrible behavior towards women. Google says the Cat Girl Manor, also known as the Chateau, is a private residence outside Colorado Springs, Colorado, known for hosting kitten play, and has been described as the Playboy mansion of the kitten play community, even though that's not what Isabella feels is a proper proper description. This is Isabella talking and how she describes it.
The thing that I'm most commonly told by a male audience is, it must be like Playboy. It's Playboy but with the cat ears, right, instead of the bunny girls. And I say, no, it's different. I say, Hugh Hefner created Playboy with the bunnies to sell a men's magazine for men. Whereas with the Chateau, it was made by girls for a lifestyle.
Isabella's been described to have a very energetic and charming personality, and that's one of the things that helps people to be drawn into this type of thing.
I found it on Facebook. My first thought was, these girls are cat girls and they're modeling and they look like they're having so much fun, and it's like, I need to get more involved.
I used to be really shy growing up. I would hide behind my dad, and even with like family members, I would like meow at them.
So when I was first reached out about this, they said that there's a big house in the U.S. called the Kitten Chateau. The Cat Girl Manor is basically like the Playboy Mansion, but with cat girls. The only difference is a woman runs the house. So I think a lot of girls feel safe, but it's not safe. There's been so many reports of S.A. Davi Vanity is a regular visitor of this house, and my friend has finally come out with her story, and people are trying to silence her, and we're not going to let them silence her. That's
So who this Davi Vanity guy is, I don't know. I think he was in that first picture I showed, the guy holding the leashes. Now, the rest of this, I'll put the video down if you guys want to, if you're interested in watching the whole video, because a girl, this isn't directly related to Gypsy Rose Blanchard, except she wanted to go visit this place. But he then interviews this girl that used to work there, and there was a lot of essay that went on at that place, and she was traumatized from working there. So I did find this picture. Now, this is from their Instagram account. And the reason I pulled this one up is because there have been reports, and this was just gossip and rumor, and it still is just gossip and rumor. I mean, there's no way to confirm this actually, but that Gypsy and Ken were partaking in this kind of a play, this kind of sexual fetish play, that he had her on a leash and was walking her like a dog near train tracks. I think that's what the gossip was. Of course, I don't know, but it's interesting because you see these type of images that are coming from this chateau place that she was not only knew the name of, but knew about it, called it like kind of like a Playboy mansion, and she was very interested in visiting there. So she wanted to do this. This is what she wanted to do. And so this isn't something, again, all of these go to that this isn't something that Nick introduced to her. This is something she liked. This is after the crime in 2022. She's writing to this guy about how she wants to do this stuff. Come on. Come on. When is she going to give up that lie? That's what I want to know. When are you going to give up that lie? When are you going to just stop lying about all this stuff? No one really cares. It's 2025. You want to get on a leash and you want to be walked around. I don't care what you do on your own time in your own bedroom. I don't give a crap, but stop lying about it. That stop lying and saying, you were this virginal person and he introduced you to this BDSM type fetish type world, and and the vampire stuff and all of that. It was her. Clearly it was her. Another image from the and this has also, besides the tail, this is giving up 50 Shades of Grey vibes, right? With the bindings and stuff like that. I don't know much about this world. So obviously I don't, but to me, it just harkens back to that 50 Shades of Grey, which is another video that I have, if you haven't seen it, about how she was into that, and that came from the prison emails also. All right, so there's the kitten fetish. There's the chateau. It's in Colorado. I guess it's still around. They have their Instagram page. But according to that video that I watched part of it with that girl, this is not a good place, and the girls aren't treated fairly there. It's not good. It's not good. So, anyways, that's that. I want to move now into this CPS situation. So apparently Gypsy leaked or somehow her CPS letter. And let's see, I have a screenshot. Okay. So on the right-hand side one, this is the letter. And the problem is with this is that a lot of people have been commenting that it doesn't look accurate, that there's something that that looks like they're suggesting that it's a forgery, that she made it up herself. Now, I know a lot of people, and I'll come back to this in a minute, but I just want to show you guys. Excuse me. So the regular letterhead is this, it's colored. It's colored. Now that doesn't mean I don't know. You know, this is from 2018, and what gets mailed to you, maybe it's a black and white, maybe it's a black and white copy. I don't know, right? I don't know. But this is kind of like the form. And if you look at the one that she gave, the one on the right hand side, okay, look at the one on the left hand side. Now look at the spacing of the top. Do you see the spacing? There's something off with the spacing there to me. That's from, it's not spaced right, the one that she showed. You know, this isn't how a professional letter looks when you have a professional typist, someone that knows how to craft a letter and how it looks, where the borders are, the tabs are, and all that. You go across, it's very not centered correctly, right? That's what I would say. And so people are suggesting that even parts of the language that are used in it aren't correct. I don't know. I'm just bringing this up. Also, this is from GRB Snark. If you don't know what GRB Snark is, it is a Reddit, it is a subreddit page that's devoted to everything Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And just giving them a shout out, you'll find their link in the description box if you want to check them out. The people that are associated with that page do a lot of research. They do a lot of good work. And so the point of this post was to say that the language in the letter, it says the word invalid, that the finding was invalid, and that it should have been unsubstantiated. Okay, so that some of the language was off in the letter, the way the dates were written in the letter didn't look professional. So there was a lot of things in that. Now, can I know for sure that she forged that CPS letter? And what would, but let's talk about this. Why would you, even if that wasn't a forgery and that was the real letter she got, which I don't know. And I'm going to play a woman's TikTok that explains a lot about why it looks like a forgery. Well, let's watch that first, and then let's discuss the reasons why she is, doing this right now. Why would she be leaking this letter? That what does she think she's gaining? How is that a flex? How I don't know. So here's this woman over on TikTok. I think it's the T page with T, something like that. You'll find her also in the description box. Here she goes.
Gypsy Rose has showed that her case was closed with DCFS in Louisiana about baby Aurora. I got to thinking after I read a few comments, just the whole thing, the letter in general, kind of looked a little suspicious. So I was like, I'm going to go look on the internet and see if I can find anything. I couldn't really find much because Louisiana's super.
I'm sorry if that's not as loud. If you guys have to turn it up, I won't talk in the middle of it to blow your ears out if you have to turn it up.
Strict about putting documents like that out there because anybody and everybody, I guess, could just print it, I'm assuming. So I went on ChatGPT. I uploaded Gypsy's paper that she posted, and then I asked it to basically compare it to a real one, and it pointed out a few inconsistencies from a real one and hers. It didn't actually show me a real one, but it did give me the exact locations and wordings that it would use in a real letter. So I'm just going to read you just a few things that it pointed out as far as the inconsistencies compared to a real one and compared to hers. Hold on. As we all know, I showed you in my last video, this is the letter behind me that Gypsy posted. If you want to pause, read, whatever, or if you want to scroll back and watch my last video, you can. So ChatGPT says no case number or reference number appears on the visible portion. Official DCFS letters typically include a case number or a file number for reference. The font and spacing look relatively normal but slightly off compared to typical government letters, which tend to use very consistent formatting and margins. However, this could be due to the photo quality. The phrase invalid, quote, not justified, quote, is somewhat informal for government writing. Usually, terms like unsubstantiated or not supported by evidence are preferred. The line breaks and text block alignment are a bit irregular, but this can happen in scanned or photographed copies. I also do want to point out that in the past, whenever I have personally received DCFS letters from DCFS, which was years ago, but they had color on the logo. And even in ChatGPT, I should have saved that part. I didn't take a picture of it though. It said the exact colors, like the exact name of the colors, like Navy 0123 or whatever it's called. It said that it should have been those colors instead of black and white. Whether they changed it because it's been so many years since I've gotten one, I don't know. Now, am I 100% certain saying that Gypsy completely falsified this document? No, because I honestly don't know. But just going off of what ChatGPT says, it's
So that's about it. So yeah, I think it's the T page with T. I think that's her TikTok account. I thank her for allowing me to use this. So yeah, I agree that there's some really oddities with that letter. Does it matter? Well, no. I mean, this isn't the biggest thing. If it isn't right, and she is forged this, I mean, she forging a government document is kind of maybe not the smartest thing to do. But why would you do it? Why would you? What's going on that you feel the need to tell all of us that you were investigated by CPS and they didn't find anything or whatever, unsubstantiated? Well, that doesn't mean they can't open up another one. That doesn't mean you're even going through one right now. People have multiple cases, a lot of people do. And so I don't know why that would be a flex. Okay. And April, according to the letter, it's April 1st that they said, yeah, it's invalid. It's such a weird word to use. And the findings were invalid. It's not the right language, but I don't know. Hey, I don't know that for 100%. So I'm just saying weird, very, very, very weird. Right. All right. That's the CPS stuff. Now let's get into this other girl. You maybe have heard of her, Sarah Grace Patrick. Murdered her mother and stepfather on February 20th, 2025. I think she was a senior in high school. And I started looking into it because I wanted to see my whole theory is that Gypsy follows a pattern, that criminals, in the study of criminal justice, you learn that criminals follow patterns. And so this pattern of young women in their teen years to early 20s murdering their parents is not unheard of. And usually the motive, not only are they, psychopaths, they are doing it usually because they are psychopaths and malignant narcissists. And usually it's over a romantic relationship or something they see the parents are not allowing them to do. It's something as simple as can be, they didn't allow you to do XYZ. And so this is my theory with Gypsy, that she fits that pattern. That typically, according to experts in parricide, when somebody is being abused, there are the rare occasions where the abused child will act out. Okay. But typically not. It's not something that really happens, right? Because murdering somebody, it takes a lot. And usually kids that are being abused, even if they're in their teens and they're still being abused, yes, there are rare instances where according to the research, where they have snapped. But usually the ones that end up, more often the cases, there are these malignant narcissists and these psychopaths. And usually these are females that get a male to help. Now, this Sarah is all alleged because she hasn't gone to trial or anything yet. But I thought it was interesting to see what was going on around with Gypsy around the time she murdered her parents. Like I don't know if she looked into Gypsy. I don't know if I have no way of knowing that. But I did see a TikTok that I'm going to play with you from her friend's perspective, and I thought it was pretty telling what the friend said. And then I'm going to show you what was going on in the Gypsy verse, what Gypsy was doing right before this girl ends up murdering her mother and stepfather. So let's go to the friend. This is a friend of the girl.
Here's a few things about Sarah that would shock you for her to even do this, and this is why we didn't suspect anything about it. Going to school with her and being her friend, she was super sweet. She always wanted to be friends with people. As someone else said when they were telling us about them being friends, she would always give notes to people that were crying. She'd always come up to you. She'd always give you food. She just wanted to be liked, and that's why it was so surprising to us that she would even do this. Even though she did end up in mental hospitals, every time she would come back, she was a totally different person. She was nice. She looked better. She sounded better. She acted better. The only thing that caught my eye about her was that she was very much she always showed cleavage. She always wanted male attention, not hating on her and not defending her either at all. What she did was really wrong and really messed up.
So there you have it. A couple of things here, right? Of course, right off the bat, the cleavage. Like this is this one thing this girl noticed. Wearing these low cut outfits. Look, not every girl that wears a low cut outfit is going to murder their parents. That's ridiculous, right? But what she is commenting on is this girl craved male attention. And she's using that visual that, she wore certain things. And the reason she was wearing it wasn't like, hey, I'm really proud of my body. I'm really beautiful. You can do that and not be like, craving male attention, so to speak. It's just that you like that style or whatever, right? You like showing it off. Hey, more power to you. But that people knew she liked male attention. Okay. I think more so probably than the other girls. All teenage girls, want attention from whoever they're attracted to, right? So that was interesting. The other thing was she was in and out of mental hospitals. I suggest it was probably for behavioral issues. Defiant behavioral issues that the parents were running up against. And I think if we looked at Gypsy's case, she probably could have been the same way with her mom, that there were defiant issues, right? That all teenagers push the envelope. They rebel. That's part of being a teenager is seeing how far you can go before your parents snap back and say, okay, that's not that, no, we're not doing that, right? That's too far. You're not doing that, right? We've all been there, either as teenagers ourselves or raising teenagers, but when I heard that, it made me think, wow, this is another case that fits that pattern. Now we don't know everything that's going to come out in this case, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to find that it was also this issue in the girl's mind, like it was in Gypsy's, control. That they got fed up and they didn't want to follow the rules anymore. And where most people would just rebel, run away, or pout or whatever, right? Or wait to be 18 and then leave, if you hate it so much, they murder. And it's hard for us to understand because normal people don't think like that. No matter what, you don't murder people for these things, especially your own parents. But these girls do. This happens a lot. Not a lot, but it's you can look it up. You can find numerous cases. And it's the same type of control issue. And usually it has to do with a love interest or that the parents didn't like. So yeah, there's that. And I thought that was very, very interesting. Another thing that was really interesting about this case, so the girl didn't get she didn't get caught right away. After the murder, the police didn't catch her right away. They were investigating, and she went around to TikTok creators and and said, "Hey, can you promote this? Hey, can you look into this? I'm so sad. My mother and my stepfather were murdered and my life is destroyed and help me." And so she was very prominent on TikTok, attention seeking. Can we see the same type of behavior with Gypsy? This attention seeking behavior, right? Where you wouldn't think you'd be on social media after something so heinous happened in your life. The last thing you'd be thinking about is going on social media. You would be so devastated. But not only was she going on social media, guys, she was like making videos like this. Now, there's no sound here because it's music, but you get the flavor of what's going on here, right? You get it here. This is her crying about her mother and her stepfather being gone. This is the type of stuff that she was posting, and she's the one that did it. It's a very fascinating case, and I think I'm going to start following it and even making videos about it because I think it mirrors the Gypsy case. And as we go forward, trying to get the mainstream media's attention, this case could help also. Now, I want to talk about tomorrow. We're going to have a live. Lori, the dream expert, is going to be joining me. Other people will be joining. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people in the anti-Gypsy community who are saying, what do we do now? How can we get the word out now? You know, we saw you on the podcast and what else can happen? And yeah, so I'm game. You know, I came out of hiding, so to speak, to show my face because I felt like it is a worthy cause. I'm not the only one that can go on podcasts. Obviously, there are so many great anti-Gypsy creators that could do this too. You know, so I am not the expert. I am not the, you know what I mean? But I'm willing to, raise my hand and say, yeah, if you want to, want me on your podcast and you want me to talk about it, would be more than happy to do that. So tomorrow I'm going to have a live stream. It's going to be fun. It's not going to just be, boring. But we're going to be talking more about that, the things that we can do. Okay. I have a few other people that are starting, that are like professionals, like in PR and stuff like that have come forward, that have offered their services also to this cause. So you'll learn about that. And of course, I've got some other deep dives into the prison emails that I'm going to go over. So don't miss it, because if you want justice for Dee Dee, if you are looking to have the record set straight with the mainstream media, then that's my goal too. And so tomorrow's live stream will be kind of like our first powwow to discuss it. I can ask you guys questions, what do you guys think? Stuff like that. We can converse, have a little powwow about it, and I think it'll be good. I already have the link up. If you go down in the description box, you'll find the link for that live for tomorrow. It's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern. I think that's 5 p.m. Central and 3 p.m. my time, California time, Pacific Standard Time. Okay. And so I hope to see you there. If you can't make it, I understand. Catch the replay. And I need your feedback. I need your comments. I mean, this has to all be a group effort at this point. Okay. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you like this video. If you aren't subscribed to Becca Scoops and you like this content, please consider subscribing. It would mean so much to me and my husband, Mitch. And yeah, that'll do it. I love you guys. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.